Hi, I'm Rachel Espinosa. I'm Chief of Staff at Forterro. I work for Dean Forbes. Sometimes I can be involved in daily management meetings. A week later, I'll be sat in front of the board of directors. Another week, I'll be working with our senior leadership team. It's so varied. If someone was going to ask me 20 years ago, did I imagine being in a $4 billion potential valuation European software provider, I probably would have said highly unlikely that I wouldn't. I started out my career at 19 as a cashier at Lloyds Banking Group. I left 11 years later as the youngest female director in the history of the company at that point in time. That took me to Amazon, which gave me a really good understanding of e-commerce, and then that led me to Forterro. Ultimately, before being at London Stock Exchange, that culmination of all that experience means that here, I've arrived. I feel like I understand the company. I've got lots of experience that I can bring to bear, and hopefully it makes a really big difference. One of the things as Forterro's grown and got bigger in the couple of years that Dean has been here is that we've sort of realised that he's only one person and he's only got a certain amount of bandwidth. As a result, they kind of decided they needed somebody else to come in that was really going to be that right-hand person, help him to run the company and free him up to go and spend more time looking at how we grow, take on more acquisitions, run his life outside of Forterro as well. In me coming in, that means that, in the way that Dean and I work together, I understand where all the priorities are. We often divide and conquer stuff, but it effectively means that, I guess for the team, it feels like they've got two Deans or two Rachels, which either one of those is kind of a fun combination, but it means that we can get across more people in the company.
So people say you can't be in two places at once. Well, actually, I can. Thanks to Rachel. We're doing a lot of important things at Forterro, a lot of strategic projects and initiatives to try and move the company forward over the next 4 to 5 years. And sometimes my diary and my week changes. So I might have needed to be in an important meeting or on a project steerco review to see how a project's performing. If I can't be there, then I always look to Rachel to stand in my place. And we're so aligned and so alike, we see things in such a similar way that if I can't be in the room, then the next best thing is that Rachel's there. On a lot of important projects, she's the driving force, getting the organisation around that project or that specific initiatives. She's also a great sounding board for the rest of the senior executive team at Forterro and some of the directors if they need somebody to talk to about a challenge or an issue that they're struggling with. So we've really built a powerful partnership, and she's somebody I rely on a lot to make sure I can do twice as much at Forterro and get it to the next generation in the shortest time possible.
The biggest drive for me when it comes to my career is very personal, actually. I've got two daughters, two amazing daughters, 19 and 14 years of age, and personally there were times where things were a bit difficult, went through some changes in my personal life, but the focus on my kids was a massive, massive factor when it came to my career, knowing that was the reason that I was so ambitious, and that drove me. When I got my job at Lloyds, the big job before I left, where I was the youngest female director in the company, I was up against 7 men, and all 7 of those men were like mid to late 50s, had been in the company for 25, 30 years, and there I was, this just turned 30-year-old woman. And it was really, really tough because people were confused how I could get this position at 30 years of age as a woman, and the other 7 men who had more experience in years than me weren't able to secure that position. We know this is a common problem, like first of all, manufacturing, secondly, software, thirdly, fintech, and in a data-led business, women in leadership roles are significantly behind that of other industries. We want to be able to lead in this space. It'd be great to see and be in a position that by the time we get to the end of our 3.0 strategy, that we have achieved our 40% of women in leadership roles, and not just because we've hit the number, but we've actually changed the way the company feels, is run, and that we bring much more balance and diversity to the company.